What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about why you should not buy a brand new car in 2024. So I know that a lot of people watching this video have been waiting months, if not years, to get a brand new car. And I kept saying, if you're patient and you wait, a good deal will come to you. Well, since then, the market has completely changed in the last 6 to 8 months. Now remember, not that long ago, dealers were asking anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 over MSRP on cars. But since then, the market has completely changed and done a 180. Now, even back then, I was begging people 6 months ago, don't believe the hype. I can't believe they're still charging $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on regular cars over MSRP. But people were so desperate, they believed in the hype, the fear of missing out, so they purchased these cars. In the last 6 months, supply has gotten back to normal, and then now we have a surplus. There are cars that are sitting on dealership slots that are simply not moving. So as these cars continue to pile up on dealership lots, you start to see more deals and more incentives being pushed out. Now, this is the part where I'm going to tell you, do not buy a brand new car in 2024, and let me give you a few reasons why. Something I want you guys to know about the automotive industry, a sale is not always a good thing. If a car is moving, it's desirable, there will never be a sale on that particular model. But if you look across everything, you're starting to see 0% financing with some manufacturers. Some manufacturers are offering $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 off suggested MSRP, all kinds of different discounts to get you into the door to buy these cars. Now, this is the point where dealers are realizing that they can't move the same overpriced inventory that they used to. So now they have to keep discounting these cars. Now, remember, last year, Tesla dropped their price 4 or 5 times just to keep the demand up on their side to keep moving out new cars. Now, a lot of people are excited that Tesla did this, but it screwed everybody that bought an old Tesla because now they lost 10, 20, 30% of their value overnight because he dropped the vehicle prices. That's why you can buy, like in Vegas here, a 2020 Tesla Model 3 with I think like 30,000 miles for $17,000 to $16,000. It's crazy. They're all over here, and Hertz is unloading them as well. So you're going to see more and more deals like this pop up. So every time a dealer offers you 0% financing or some sort of rebates, they're trying to hold on to a certain amount of gross with the sales price. They don't want everyone to lower the sales price because that hurts the market all the way across the board. But I think dealers are going to have to lower some of the prices of their cars moving forward. Now, there have already been rumblings all across the automotive sector about manufacturers jumping in and actually lowering the MSRP or sales price of a vehicle. Now, this is actually huge. The reason why is because over the last 3 years, cars jumped up an average, I think, of 33% in actual retail value compared to what they were before. So now you have dealers selling brand new cars for 33% more than when you could have bought the exact same car back in 2019, which is just ridiculous. They're becoming so unaffordable. Even if you want to get something like a basic economy car, you can't touch them for under $25,000. And so manufacturers are starting to cope with this because they realize that people don't have the money to buy these things. On top of that, the banks don't want to finance these cars because they're just not worth it. So now manufacturers are starting to backpedal, say, you know what, we've offered rebates, we've offered incentives, we're doing zero financing. Why aren't these cars going? And for some reason, manufacturers still believe that demand is high even though their supply is building up. Now, depending on what state and city you live in, it's going to be a little bit different. Some manufacturers are still going to offer stuff way over MSRP or still not give you any type of discounts. But here in Vegas, it was funny. I remember for last year and a half, it was very hard to find a Honda or Toyota brand new because they were all pre-sold and sold out. And now I'm starting to see them pile up on their lots. I drove by Honda here in Sahara in Las Vegas. They have about 30 Honda Accords and I don't know how many Honda Civics just sitting there waiting, where before everything was sold and it was way over MSRP, $5,000, $10,000. Now they're starting to offer discounts on their Hondas. So this is letting me know I was waiting for the Toyota and the Honda market to actually slow down. This will give me a true finger on the pulse of what the automotive industry is doing right now. Because if you look at pretty much every American manufacturer, German manufacturer, and even Korean manufacturer, they all have tons of vehicles sitting in their lots, especially when it comes to luxury cars, trucks, and SUVs. Those are typically the biggest movers because those are the ones that everybody wants. But what do all three of those things have in common? These were the highest priced vehicles in the last 3 years. The average MSRP on those went up a lot more compared to traditional cars at the 33%. So this lets us know that the market is nowhere near where it should be. Now, traditionally, when things go up because of inflation, maybe 1, 2, 3% because we're used to that. But to jump 33% in 3 years was just ridiculous. And the fact that manufacturers thought that they could do this without having this recourse was hilarious. Now, I want you guys to go back to a bunch of my videos, and I kept saying the same thing over and over again. I always told people the prices will go down when the banks stop lending. And it's finally happened. Banks do not want to lend money on a brand new car. They'd much rather lend you money on a used car that's already had a massive depreciation hit. One of the big ones we talked about is pretty much any Tesla or an Audi e-tron GT. Imagine paying last year $130,000 for this car just to go buy one at a dealership now for $60,000. It's ridiculous. Beautiful cars. I actually like them. I'm probably not going to buy one because I like gas cars, but it's still a good deal for the money. So why buy a $130,000 one just brand new so you can get it when you can buy one that's maybe used with a few thousand miles and get the exact same experience? And this is what I'm really pushing people to do in 2024. Buy something that's already fell off a cliff, especially if you're looking at purchasing a brand new EV. It is simply not worth it. Go back to my EV video. We talk about how there's numerous cars that lost over 40 to 50% of their vehicle value in 1 year. And a lot of people think, oh, well, these are regular cars. This is not like Tesla. Tesla is one of the biggest ones to lose value because they actually lowered the prices of their vehicles. So they actually lost more. So no EV, unfortunately, was safe. Plus you have like the Ford Lightning that was plagued with multiple problems. And just the fact that everybody that wants something tech always wants the newest, latest, greatest thing. They don't want the thing that's old. So if you're on a budget and you're looking for a good deal, maybe a pre-owned EV might be the thing for you if you don't travel that much, because there's massive deals on them right now. To buy a 2020 Model 3 is cheaper than buying a 2020 Toyota Corolla. So I would start to look at those things a little bit different, but just keep in mind your insurance is going to be ridiculous. And speaking of insurance, that's another reason why you do not want to buy a brand new car. We've had people literally turn down because they can't afford their new insurance premiums. I've seen premiums on EVs triple, not double, triple in the last year and a half. It's absolutely ridiculous. As the data came in where people would crash these things and it cost us so much to fix, they were getting totaled out left and right. Now that is being passed on to the actual consumer because the insurance companies are starting to lose money, as well as a lot of these EVs and trucks. Some of these new Fords, they're all aluminum. You put a dent in it, it's no longer maybe $100 an hour, pop out a dent, paint it, and you're good to go. Now every panel has to be replaced. It's stretched, it's warped, it won't go back to normal. So now a dented up bed, instead of costing you a couple $100 to fix, now is $10,000 to replace the whole entire bed. And rising insurance costs is another reason why you want to stay away from some of the newer cars and get something that's maybe older, a little bit more cheaper on insurance, and has a proven track record where you could buy used parts. And now the main reason why you want to buy a used car in 2024 are the deals. Now, remember, a lot of people just 6 months ago were paying way over MSRP on cars. So all the people that paid $120,000, $130,000 for these cars are now selling for $60,000. Those are the cars that are going to be hitting the secondhand market now. All these ballers that during the stimulus time, they're all broke. So now what's happening? All those cars are starting to either get repoed or putting back into the system, which is going to help lower the price of used cars. Now it's going to be a slow effect, but you're going to see this price reduction very steadily. Now it's going to go from the top to the bottom. Believe it or not, all the expensive cars are going to get much, much cheaper, but it's the very cheap cars, the cars that are anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 are probably going to go up in value because everybody that basically had their car repoed or can't afford anything, that's going to be the hardest segment to get. But if you're looking for a nice car around $35,000, you're going to find all kinds of deals because I think that in the next 6 months, you're going to see so many people walking away from their cars because they simply can't afford the payments. Inflation has gotten so out of control, the rent has doubled, their insurance has doubled, everything has doubled, they can't afford these cars. And I know a lot of people are kind of holding off because they see the interest rates going back down, but I'm here to tell you that I don't think there's going to be any rate reductions for the next 6 to 8 months. I believe, if anything, it's going to go down 0.25%. So it's not really going to make that much of a difference when you try to refinance these cars. So a lot of these people are holding on to hope that rates are magically going to drop and they could refinance it and save some money and get some breathing room. It's not going to happen. And I believe exactly what happened in 2008 with the houses is going to do the exact same thing in the car market. Why pay $70,000 for this Dodge Charger when you could buy the exact same one on a dealership floor for $30,000? Now, I know a lot of people always push back. They're like, no, they're going to ruin their credit. Why would they do that? They did the same thing in houses. I had friends, family members, everybody else do the same thing. They would look at the house across the street, buy it. Once they bought it, then they would let that house go. And within 3-4 years, their credit was back to normal. They didn't have to worry about it. You're going to see a lot of people doing the exact same thing. They're going to go out, they're going to buy a new car or the exact same car for half the price. They're going to let go of that car. And most banks, once you're past a 1-year probation period of a repo, they'll go ahead and lend to you. And you're going to start seeing these people walk away from these cars more often. Also, I believe the whole victims mentality, all these people that were too dumb that bought cars that weren't worth it are going to start crying victim. Oh, I was taken advantage of. I was a victim. Some government program is probably going to let them walk away from it with no hit to their credit as long as they give it to them, or some sort of forbearance program. Something's going to happen. And if that does, it's going to be waves of cars hitting the used car market. So I'd rather see you take a small hit on buying a used car and losing a little bit of value than buying a brand new car at the top and then just falling all the way down. So I highly recommend over the next maybe 6 to 8 months, just look at used cars, stay away from new cars. Now, I know a lot of you guys have been waiting quite a while to buy a new car, but the market is turned and it's finally your time to buy a car. If you can afford to buy just a hoopty and drive around for a little bit, I would highly recommend that, because I think the deals are only going to get better, because once the word gets out that they're not going to be lowering interest rates, things are going to stay the same, and as the economy slows down, sales are just going to fall off a cliff. Even this tax season is like our Christmas for dealers. I've talked to dealers all across the United States, and they're all telling me tax season's already done. They saw a few cars come in, and that was it. Some people sold maybe 100 cars in a month. They traditionally sell 30, but now that they reloaded their lot, the cars are just sitting there. So tax season is not as good as what it used to be. So dealers are basically getting slapped in the face over and over again, letting them know that all the things they did the last 3 years can't be done anymore, and they need to change their way of operating. Now, the good news with this is there are some dealers that are going to be aggressive and change their price structure, lower their financing, lower their prices, and move cars. But there are a lot of these ones that are going to go away with the dodo. They're going to be stupid. They're going to hold on to prices. Chime in the comment section if you guys have dealers in your area that are doing the same thing. I know a few here in Vegas. They refuse to lower prices even though the car has been on their lot for 6 months, which is hilarious. That thing's going to sit there and celebrate a birthday on its lot because they're not willing to move because they don't want to lose that much money. But anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know in the comment section below if you're planning on buying a new car, what car you're looking at. Also, if you've bought a new car and you've gotten a great deal on it, share in the comment section below. Also, if you've bought a car in the last 2-3 years, what can you buy that exact same car with today? That'd be the more interesting comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. Once again, follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez. I post funny shit every day. I can't really talk the way I talk here on YouTube, but if you want to see the real me, definitely post or follow me on Instagram, and we'll see you next video.